Restaurants on Mars, adding spices with the BAM, and throwing plates at a young Gordon Ramsay. Their personalities and accomplishments can't be contained to just the kitchen. Here are the most influential celebrity chefs of all time. Chef Marcus Samuelsson has become a familiar fixture in cooking television, from winning the second season of Chopped All-Stars and hosting his own shows like No Passport Required. Samuelsson was born in Ethiopia in 1970 and grew up in a Swedish fishing village with his adoptive parents, and honors his unique background to much success. Samuelsson became the executive chef at Manhattan's fine dining Scandinavian restaurant Aquavit at 24, but later felt he needed to uplift his community in a different way after 9/11. In a conversation with Hospitality Design, Samuelsson recalled, "I felt like I needed to do something that was bigger than serving the 1% of the 1%. That's when I moved to Harlem, and I knew I would open my own restaurant with a focus on the modern Black experience." In 2010, Samuelsson opened Red Rooster in Harlem, and it became a staple of the neighborhood. In the mid-2010s, Food & Wine magazine published the headline, "René Redzepi is the world's most influential chef." Redzepi opened his restaurant Noma in Copenhagen in 2003 and ushered in a renewed thought process surrounding fine dining, giving concepts like foraging, fermenting, and short seasonal menus newfound prominence, with Noma nabbing the top spot on the world's 50 best restaurants list 5 times since 2010. Despite earning 3 Michelin stars, Redzepi announced that Noma will close in 2024 and become a food research laboratory. Carla Hall first came into public consciousness when she competed on Season 5 of Top Chef. She would later return to the competition for Top Chef All-Stars, but Hall's screen time on the popular reality show was only the start of what would become an illustrious culinary career. A co-hosting spot on ABC's The Chew, regular guest appearances on Food Network, a stack of cookbooks, and the launch of a new podcast are among Hall's achievements. In 2018, The Washington Post hailed her as, quote, "the most visible Black person in food," and she continues to celebrate the Black community's monumental contributions to American cuisine.
They didn't know how to tell my story, so it was up to me to make sure that my stories were told.
Hall is a culinary ambassador for the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture in her current hometown of Washington, D.C. Ming Tsai's introduction to the kitchen began in his parents' Dayton, Ohio restaurant, Mandarin Kitchen, but the Ivy League-educated Tsai defied parental expectations when he pursued cooking over engineering. When Tsai began hosting East Meets West on Food Network in 1998, he and veteran chef Martin Yan were some of the only Asian chefs regularly cooking on TV. East Meets West brought culinary fusion mainstream, and in 1999, Tsai took home an Emmy Award for Outstanding Service Show Host. After East Meets West ended in 2003, PBS tapped Tsai to host Simply Ming, now one of the longest-running cooking shows on the network. Tsai still finds time for new endeavors. He's raised over $11 million for Family Reach, a charity that helps families cope with cancer, and launched Ming's Beings in 2020, a vegan line of frozen food inspired by dim sum classics, with a fusion twist. Jean-Georges Vongerichten has opened 60 restaurants in his 50-year career as a groundbreaking chef, starting with an apprenticeship at Auberge de Lille, a Michelin-starred restaurant in the Alsace region of northeastern France. Vongerichten would go on to travel the world, open restaurants on several continents, and embrace unlikely high-end restaurant concepts like the open kitchen and communal tables. His flagship restaurant, Jean-Georges in Manhattan, is one of his best-known eateries in the United States, but Vongerichten can do more than French food. He worked in Asia in the 70s and 80s and has restaurants in Tokyo, Shanghai, and Hong Kong. And his vegetarian restaurant, ABCV, won a James Beard Award. Even if you've never tried Vongerichten's food, you're likely familiar with molten lava cake, which he invented. Since winning Season 10 of Top Chef in 2013, Kristen Kish's star has been rapidly on the rise. Kish, who was adopted from Korea at 4 months old and raised in Michigan, has returned for guest judge appearances on Top Chef and hosted other shows, but her most icon-in-the-making turn to date has only just begun. After it was confirmed that Padma Lakshmi would not be returning to Top Chef for its 21st season, Kish was the only person production considered for the job. In many ways, Kish may be the breath of fresh air the reality cooking competition needs. As editor of Cooks magazine in the 1980s, Christopher Kimball saw an opportunity for growth and co-founded Cooks Illustrated in 1993. In 2000, Kimball brought the magazine's pages to life with his beloved how-to show, America's Test Kitchen.
There's fear. There's fear of failure, fear of making a fool of yourself, fear that won't come out well. And so I stand up as sort of the everyman.
For 16 years, Kimball commanded a dedicated audience of millions who tuned in for his insights on cooking with confidence. He left America's Test Kitchen and Cooks Illustrated over a contract dispute and created Milk Street, a media company that produces a magazine, podcast, and 2 new shows, My Family Recipe, hosted by Kimball, and Milk Street's Cooking School. Marco Pierre White, often credited as the first, quote, rock star chef, expertly married rebellion with classic technique at his Southeast London restaurant Harvey's. White opened Harvey's in 1987 and led with a bit of an iron fist. He worked hard and expected nothing less from his staff, which included a precocious chef by the name of Gordon Ramsay. White's autobiographical cookbook, White Heat, published in 1990, would rattle the conservatism of traditional cookbooks and pave the way for chef memoirs like Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential. White became the youngest British-born chef to be awarded 3 stars from the Michelin Guide. But in true rebel fashion, White stuck it to the high-class cuisine industry in 1999 when he gave them all back. Alice Waters was only 27 when she opened her now famous Berkeley, California restaurant, Chez Panisse, in 1971, and helped pioneer what became known as the slow food movement. At the time Waters was starting out as a chef, the idea of food sustainability in America was not the pressing issue it is today, but she sought to change that. Inspired by a 1965 trip to France, Waters returned with an ignited belief that food should be local, seasonal, and unprocessed.
The restaurant really became what it is because of taste.
Through Waters' vision, Chez Panisse was a cornerstone of the farm-to-table movement. She also feels strongly about imparting these food philosophies to kids and established the Edible Schoolyard Project in 1995. Better known as the Barefoot Contessa, Ina Garten has forged a place in chef stardom in a rather distinct way. Through the Barefoot Contessa, Garten's Food Network cooking show that ran from 2002 to 2021, viewers at home got a sense that gourmet cooking was accessible and could be recreated with a little guidance. Garten herself is a self-taught chef whose calm demeanor, detailed presentations, and penchant for entertaining showed us that preparing anything was more than possible right from your own kitchen. Before celebrity food entertainers like Guy Fieri gained a foothold on Food Network fame, charismatic cooks like Rachael Ray were changing the way cooking show fans approached food. With her star-making 30-minute meals, Rachael Ray taught the public that it's not bad to cook boxed pasta you bought at Stop & Shop. That's actually what you should be doing if you want to make a quick yet tasty dinner for your family. Ray's upbeat personality was infectious, and her on-screen success allowed her to expand into a line of successful products from cookware to her dog food line Nutrish. Decades later, Ray says one of her proudest career achievements is being able to give back through the Rachael Ray Foundation. Martha Stewart segued a career as a Wall Street stockbroker into an in-demand catering business and, eventually, a lifestyle. Stewart quickly morphed her talents into a mega brand that included several more editions of entertaining, television shows, a home goods line, and more. In 2004, Stewart took her 5-month prison sentence for financial crimes in stride and willed her career to recover and maintained her presence on TV and elsewhere. Stewart is still a gal about town and regularly shares enviable snaps of homemade food and standard-setting table spreads at her lavish dinner parties. The unpretentious way Giada De Laurentiis broke down her classic Italian recipes on her show Everyday Italian made her an instant hit with viewers and eventually earned her an Emmy Award. She may not be classically trained, but her cookbooks have been New York Times bestsellers thanks to her ability to maintain a huge viewership over 3 decades. Giada, her first ever restaurant, opened on the Las Vegas Strip in 2014. Unlike the brooding chefs who've globetrotted their way through the restaurant industry, De Laurentiis wields her culinary influence differently. In recent years, she's launched a food and lifestyle website called Jodzi in hopes of continuing to reach a worldwide audience. Born in 1948 in Guangzhou, China, Martin Yan headed to Hong Kong alone at age 13 for a restaurant job. He immigrated to Calgary, Canada, where he continued to work in restaurants and teach cooking classes. His life changed forever in 1978 when he was asked to film a cooking show for Canadian TV. By 1982, Yan was filming a show Yan Can Cook for PBS. He was one of the first chefs to popularize home-cooked Chinese food in American kitchens and became an icon along the way. His easygoing, lively demeanor, combined with a down-to-earth motto, inspired millions.
If Yan can cook, so can you.
Yan has taught cooking classes at universities and authored dozens of cookbooks. And in 2022, Yan received the James Beard Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1996, Food Network had tapped Bobby Flay as its resident grill guy. Grillin' and Chillin' was Flay's first cooking show and morphed into spin-offs like Hot Off the Grill and Boy Meets Grill. His Food Network success allowed him to show off his flair for Southwestern cuisine, but Flay became even better known through his high-energy TV battle segments like Iron Chef and Beat Bobby Flay. A flurry of Flay-owned restaurants has come, gone, and come again. All the while, Flay continues to be a pillar of cooking TV and an entrepreneur. In 2021, Flay took a cue from fellow Food Network alum Rachael Ray and branched out into the pet food business, with his beloved cat Nacho serving as his muse. BBC Two's decision to air a jittery, DIY-style show featuring a 23-year-old London sous chef Jamie Oliver cooking in his flat was an interesting one, and it worked. The Naked Chef cookbook debuted during the show's first season and sold 1.2 million copies. Food Network began airing The Naked Chef, cementing worldwide fame for Oliver. He spent much of the 2000s rallying against childhood obesity with shows like Jamie's School Dinners and Food Revolution. His methods didn't always win over the public, but any missteps Oliver has made in his long career haven't diminished his charm or culinary skill. Oliver continues to be a TV regular and recently launched a comprehensive online cooking class under the moniker Yes Chef. Emeril Lagasse is without a doubt one of Food Network's most popular stars of all time. It's been pointed out that when Food Network was still getting its footing on the cable television circuit, Lagasse's show Essence of Emeril was drawing in the viewership.
Bam, 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 bam. And you take some green onions and you go bam!
Essence of Emeril segued to 1997's Emeril Live, and product lines, restaurants, and 19 cookbooks also accompanied Lagasse's Food Network fame. Lagasse has taken a quieter stance in the media over the last few years, but he remains a legend in the celeb chef world. No chef has been as in demand by the A-list as Wolfgang Puck. The Austrian-born chef has led the culinary operations of the after-Oscars Governor's Ball for 29 years and counting. Puck credits his mother for igniting his passion for cooking and encouraging him in his early years. In 1982, he put his own spin on the laid-back Los Angeles culinary scene with the opening of his restaurant Spago, where craft pizzas with lamb or smoked salmon and caviar were Puck's calling card. His ability to strike the mysterious chord of a highly skilled chef, making seemingly casual food, stretched beyond California. Puck has gone on to build a veritable restaurant empire, but it all started with Spago and Puck's belief that he had something new to offer the culinary world. Alain Ducasse is a lesser-known name in the United States, but Ducasse has set culinary standards that will live into eternity. Earning 3 Michelin stars by the age of 33, Ducasse credits his upbringing on a farm in southwest France as the reason behind his calling. His insistence on quality and restaurant expansion has led to Ducasse owning over 20 restaurants and 3 hotels. His legacy is firmly in place, but that doesn't mean Ducasse is stuck in his ways. His app, My Culinary Encyclopedia, is one of Ducasse's newer ventures, and as for future plans, Ducasse told Food and Wine magazine, "I would love to create the first restaurant ever on Mars." Chef of the Century was an accolade bestowed upon Joël Robuchon in 1990. Why? Because he led some of the best kitchens in the world. Holding 32 Michelin stars across 13 countries, Robuchon shunned the pluck to perfection concept that food critics came to expect in the later decades of the 20th century, preferring to serve straightforward meals in generous portions, like his otherworldly mashed potatoes. A perfectionist in the kitchen, but not a hothead, Robuchon admitted that the only plate of food he ever hurled in anger was at a young Gordon Ramsay. In 2018, Robuchon died of cancer at the age of 73, leaving an unshakable imprint in the culinary arts behind him. The namesake of the James Beard Award was the first person to have a cooking show on TV. I Love to Eat debuted in 1946 and was miles ahead of its time, just like Beard, who is basically the original foodie. Through food, he gave his audience something to enjoy and to be good at, spending the bulk of the 1970s teaching cooking classes and opening up cooking schools of his own. Beard's more than 20 cookbooks read like a celebratory encyclopedia of American food, and he was an original consultant for the Four Seasons restaurant in New York City. The sprawling space, open from 1959 until 2019, was a Manhattan landmark, serving an upscale style of food that would later be dubbed, quote, New American, a cuisine Beard inadvertently invented. Anthony Bourdain was like no one else on television, an affable gourmet tour guide whose biting wit could render a smirk out of just about anyone. Part of what made Bourdain's death so heartbreaking was that he clearly loved people as much as he loved food. His curiosity to hear strangers' stories and partake in their experiences was what made his show Parts Unknown and Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations, great. Bourdain had the discerning palate of a top chef, but lived his life as a man of the people. Bourdain's firecracker of a read, Kitchen Confidential, Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly, was published in 2000 and put the established yet under-the-radar New York City chef into the global spotlight. For the next 2 decades, Bourdain crisscrossed the globe to teach us about food, but more than anything, he taught us about life. International treasure Jacques Pépin may be in his late 80s, but the man is as in touch as any celebrity chef today. As a young chef in France, Pépin cooked at the highest level, serving as a personal chef to Charles de Gaulle and other heads of state. He immigrated to New York in 1959, working in restaurants and releasing cookbooks, but didn't become a household name until his PBS series Everyday Cooking premiered in 1982. Pépin possessed an innate ability to debunk the preconceived notion that French cuisine was too complicated for a home cook to take on, and to this day, he is a role model to the biggest names in food and the unofficial guest of honor everywhere he goes. Gordon Ramsay is a driving force of culinary reality TV, a medium he's worked in since the late 1990s, when his maniacal determination to earn Michelin stars was the center of the British docuseries Boiling Point. Ramsay seemed like an unlikely celebrity, but he trademarked his hair-trigger demeanor into a string of massively successful shows, where Ramsay routinely scares aspiring chefs into believing they can be better. This approach isn't pretty, and it's drawn some understandable criticism, but Ramsay's immense success as a chef is perhaps what speaks loudest of all.
Hey, what do you think this is, a talk show? No. Cook your dish and shut your fat mouth!
Ramsay is the owner of 58 restaurants, and his most recent television turns as the host of Next Level Chef and Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars play less into his taskmaster reputation, choosing to highlight his talents as a mentor to a new generation of chefs and entrepreneurs. When we talk about icons, it's difficult to say something that has not already been said, and this is certainly true of Julia Child. When the French chef debuted in the 1960s, Julia Child became one of the first women to host a televised cooking program. While promoting her 1961 book, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, Child made an omelet on live TV. Her imposing 6'2" stature and cooing, sing-song voice captivated viewers immediately. Producers at the public network, WGBH, believed she could carry her own show. And carry it she did. Child's earnest segments encouraged people to tackle French cuisine, and her popularity paved the way for fellow public TV greats like Jacques Pépin. Child passed away in 2004, 2 days shy of her 92nd birthday, and she remains an undisputed lightning rod of celebrity chef culture.